I'm Lisa from the Wee House of Crochet, and welcome to Knitcraft Falling Leaves week 4 crochet along. So week 4, you will have seen your pattern, and some of you will be looking at it thinking, oh, I've done this before, brilliant. Some of you will be looking at it thinking, oh my goodness. It's a lot easier than what you think. So you will need your cream and you will need mustard, and of course for the last border you will also need your plum if you are using the Knitcraft recommended colours or yarn. I know some of you aren't, but that's fine, so just use your alternative. I'm going to start with, what am I going to do first actually? I might start with I think I'll start with mustard just so that you can see it better. You will also need your 5.5mm hook, depending on your tension, because we've all got different tension. So I'm just going to explain to you, this design is it's a triangle, because it represents strength and heaven and earth and all that, so we thought it tied in nicely with autumn, especially with the colours, and it's used using a format called Tapestry crochet. It is a little bit of a Marmite. I love Tapestry crochet. I don't think Linda likes it very much. So Tapestry crochet is very similar to standard crochet. It uses ordinary stitches, but it uses different coloured yarn at the same time. So you crochet in exactly the same way as you would normally crochet, but you change your yarns from time to time depending on the pattern that you're following. So there's always 2 types of instructions. One is a written pattern and the other one is a chart. So what we've done is, to make it easier, is we've just given you a chart. So it's not, if you did Christmas Is, it's not a chart like that, because that was a beast. This is a lot smaller and a lot easier, and you literally will just follow the chart back and forth as you turn your work, and both sides of the block will look exactly the same. So for us that crochet tightly, i.e. Linda, actually my tension's changed a lot recently, I don't know why, but for those that crochet tightly, it's great because it needs to be tight. And what we're going to be doing is working with both cream and mustard. But there's 2 different types of blocks. I have printed them both off so that I could show you on camera, but my printer's just died, so that's no good. But we've got one block where it's a cream triangle and one block where it's a mustard triangle. So I'm going to do the mustard triangle first. Well, for this, I'll only do that for the tutorial because you won't need me to do another one. And all we're using is just a double crochet. That is it. And this, sorry, UK terms, we're just using a double crochet. Now, we have put in the pattern that Tapestry crochet is not for everybody. So you don't have to do this if you don't want to, honestly. We had a lovely lady who switched out the cable blocks for a waffle, and you know that's absolutely fine, because this is it's your blanket, and it's got to, you know, it's got to suit you. So if you don't want to do tapestry, switch it for another block, or something, you know, something else that suits you. But if you haven't done tapestry before, give it a try, get stuck in, because it opens up a whole world of, you know, different crochet patterns. The pattern also says, when changing colour on the last stitch before you complete the last yarn over, bring the new colour in. To yarn over with the new colour and then continue to work over the colour until you no longer need to use it. So we're just crocheting over it. It is a lot easier than what you think. So we've got row 1. So what you need to do before row 1 is actually chain 27 using cream or mustard. So where's my hook? It's there. So I'm going to start with mustard, and I'm going to chain 27. Okay, and I'm going to pause this, so if I finish mine really quickly, It's because of magical YouTube. I've paused the video, so I'll go and chain my 27. Okay, so you should now have your 27 stitches, chains, sorry. And what we are going to do now is start row 1. And what that says is to work a double crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each chain, well, stitch across. Changing colour on the last yarn over. So here is my first chain there. There you go. Don't wait for that to get into focus. There you go. And there's my second. So I'm going to work a double crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then I'm going to work a double crochet in each chain across. So what I might do, so I don't bore you to tears, is just work my so you'll end up with 26 double crochets. So if I just work them all until I get to the last stitch, and then I'll show you how to bring that new colour in. So take your time. I will pause this and I'll see you just before I finish that last stitch. So I have just worked my double crochets working over the cream. I've left these last 2 stitches because if you look at the chart, the last stitch on the chart is in cream. So remember, on the last double crochet in the mustard, we need to finish off that double crochet in cream. Now when you finish it off, it doesn't affect the look of the stitch at all. Makes no difference, but it makes this next stitch look a lot nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to work over this mustard here. So I'm just going to insert my hook. It's dead fiddly, isn't it? These first few rows are fiddly, but after that it's fine. So I'm just going to, I look really cat-handed there, but it's just because I'm looking through a lens. So I've put my hook through there. I'm working over that mustard. I'm going to yarn out, put my hook through there. I'm just going to pull that mustard through. There you go. And yarn over and just pull through with the mustard as well, because the next stitch that we do is in mustard, because we're now going on to row 3, and row 3 has 2 mustard at the beginning, sorry, 2 mustard at each end and the rest, sorry, 2 cream at each end and the rest are mustard in the middle. So I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to turn, and I'm going to work my 1 mustard stitch, sorry, cream. I'm working over the mustard, and again this still is looking a little bit untidy, isn't it? But I promise it will look fab. Then another cream double crochet into this stitch, but I'm going to finish it off in the mustard. Okay, so we've now got the 2 cream, and then I'm going to work the rest of the row in mustard, but working over the cream, just like we did before. My tension's quite loose on this. You might want to drop down a hook size, you might not. So I'm working mustards until I get to the last 2 stitches. I think I'll pause that before I bore you again. Yeah. I'm going to work my way across until this stitch here. because that's when we're going to work this one in cream and this one in cream. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so I've worked all of my double crochets across. I've crocheted over my cream. This last one's going to be in cream. This second to last one's going to be in cream. So I'm just going to work my double crochet until this point, and then I'm going to finish it in cream. And again, makes no difference to the actual stitch itself. You might just want to, every now and then as well, just give it a little tug and then a little stretch as well. So I'm now working over the mustard using cream for these last two stitches. And then in here as well. Would help if I went under both loops. I can't see, I'm ever so sorry. Ta-da! Got it in. Right. So working over the mustard. Just going to pull that through. Okay. I made that look really awkward, didn't I? Okay, so we're now moving on to row 4, and row 4 is the same as row 2. So it is literally, you're starting off, you've got that 1 and then 2. Row 4 is 2 cream at each end and the rest are mustard. So I think I'll pause this and I'll come back to you when we get to row 6. Is it row 6? Row 5. I'll come back to you in row 5. Hello, right, so I have finished, what have I finished? Sorry, I have finished row 4. So I'm now on the right hand side of the chart and I'm going to move to row 5. So row 2 was where we had 1 stitch in cream, row 3 is where we had 2, row 4 we also had 2, so row 5 is where we have 3. So you can, it does look a bit untidy, but the more cream that we have in, the less you'll be able to see that. Anyway, so onto row 5. So I'm just going to chain 1 and turn, and then working over my mustard, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch and work a double crochet, and into the second one and work a double crochet, and then into the third. So into that third double crochet, work a double crochet, but before I do my yarn over, I'm going to finish off in mustard. I think you can kind of get the general gist of this now, really. So finish it in mustard. I've just given it a little bit of a quick tug, so you can see how that's already starting to look a bit neater. And then working over the cream and working my mustard. And I'm going to do that all the way across until here, until this stitch here, and then I will change over to cream. So I'll see you back then. Okay, so I have done my double crochets, I've worked over my cream, I've got 2 left in mustard here, so what I'm going to do is just do that last one, because remember we need 3 on this side. I'm going to finish it off in cream, and then I'm going to work my first cream on this side, working over the mustard, and then there's a cream in this one, and a cream in that last one. I really don't like how it looks at the beginning, and I know you won't either, but you will see, because don't forget we've got to put a border around this as well. Now we're moving on to row 6, and row 6 is exactly the same as row 5. So chain 1, turn our work, working over the mustard, and we're going to work 3 double crochets in cream. 1, 2 and 3. And we're going to yarn over to finish off that 3rd one. And we're then going to work over the cream. I can't even find the stitch. Over the cream using mustard all the way across. So I think I'll do a few more rows, and I'll join you. I think I'll join you back at row 13 if you can. I think you will have got the gist of this, but I'll see you back at row 13 anyway. Hello, I said I'd come back at row 13, but actually I've gotten to 11 and I thought that'll do. The only reason I said row 13 is because we would have done quite a few rows in cream, and I would get to just take my hook out, show you that actually it is quite neat, because when we first start off, I really dislike this when we first start off, but those first few rows we're going to end up covering in a border anyway, so you're not going to get to see it, but that does look really neat, doesn't it? So I've done half of it. What you're going to do then, once you've finished this, you're going to do your 23 double crochet in cream for this colourway. So if you do this colourway, you would do the cream border and then plum, which will hide these little turning bits that you've got here, and then you'll do plum. Now I know you've got 26 stitches there, and you've got, I think it's 26 rows as well. What you're gonna we only want 23 double crochets on the border. It just means you're just gonna have to skip a stitch or 2 while you're doing the border, but it'll be worth it because when it's all joined, it looks great, as you've seen from the photos. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. That is tapestry crochet. You can't see the cream through there. You can obviously see bits of the yellow in there, but not an awful lot, and this just opens up a whole array of patterns to you. There's all sorts you can do using tapestry crochet, tons. So if it's your first time doing it, I hope this is a nice simple block to start with. If it's not your first time doing it, then yeah, not your first time. But yes, that is how we do tapestry crochet. So it's literally every time you've got a mustard square on the chart, you're doing it in mustard. Every time you've got a cream square on the chart, you're doing it in cream. When you change colour, just before you do that yarn over in the new colour, and that is it. And don't worry so much about how it's looking at the beginning, it's how it looks when it's done. So I hope you've enjoyed that, learning that, if it's new to you. I love it. I think it's really neat. Yeah, there you go. Enjoy. See you in week 5. Bye.